Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about a video that I saw recently which gave me an idea to do this video of mine. I have even commented on their post the same things that I'm going to say in this video uh, and hopefully a little bit more. So seeing their video, it was a journey of a interracial couple whose few steps of how they started their relationship I have watched, and a few videos in the of their recent videos I have watched. I've not watched their entire list of videos that they have on their social media page. But after watching this particular video, I felt the problems they described in this juncture of their relationship after they had been dating each other for 6 months. They had been friends with each other for maybe about 1.5 to 2 years by then. And in this time span, when they knew each other for so long, a juncture happened in their relationship where their relationship got pulled towards a separation like phase. And what the girl mentioned in the video about how she was feeling internally and how she was trying to test him a little bit to see what was her place in his life resonated so much with me, because this is the same problem I have and a roadblock I have faced in multiple relationships in the past. I am not the epitome of a good relationship or long term relationship because I've never had a long term relationship. But I definitely know all the trouble zones and challenges and places why or where or how relationships break up and fracture. And in all my relationships, what this couple narrated as their problem zone was something that was happening with my relationships too. The only difference, while this couple mentioned openly and honestly to each other some of the things that were challenging to them when this breakup was happening, and in fact, the girl didn't actually mention what were her problem zones or what was her insecurity, but she didn't need to mention her insecurity because in any relationship, when one of the partners is kind of withdrawing away from the relationship, most of us, if we have been dating each other for a few months or a year or more, or if we know each other for a few months or years as friends before we started dating, like this couple did, most of the time people develop an instinct to know when their partners are moving away from each other and when their partners are trying to distance themselves from the relationship, when their partners are not as involved in the relationship as they were previously. So, usually, this type of a problem happens for women more than for men, and it happens especially if women are the one showing more interest in the relationship, women are the one pursuing more into keeping in touch with their partner. This can happen. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen with the opposite gender, or if people are in the same sex relationship, that then also one of the partners can end up doing this, where one partner might want to get deeply involved in the relationship, whereas the other partner might be thinking of distancing themselves in the relationship. So this 6 month juncture of dating, when this girl was feeling that her boyfriend is not as involved in the relationship, she was feeling this insecurity of her relationship, and she was going through all these internal struggles. It was also the same time the boy was also going through some internal struggles, just that they were not communicating their internal struggles to each other. So what was the boy going through? He said that he was going through the struggle of how their relationship would look in the future, because they were an interracial couple. So one being from India and one being from Nigeria, and they were both living in Kenya. So they had obviously in those 6 months likely faced some racial couple related challenges. But other than just the racial differences or cultural differences between two people from two different continents and countries, I'm sure they had also faced challenges that are challenges that normal guys and girls would have in a relationship. It's just that when you're an interracial couple, you might chalk them all out to the racial or cultural differences, but sometimes uh, what people face in a relationship as a challenge doesn't necessarily have to be a racial thing. It can also be a gender thing where one gender might be more deeply wanting to connect and the other gender might be wishing to disconnect from the relationship. It can also just be the energies of the couple where one person is thinking more on how to bring a closer bond in the relationship, because and usually it is the woman who thinks like this, because for a woman what is important, once a woman will date someone long term and if they are serious about each other, they're obviously thinking about marriage or a lifelong partnership with each other. Now in a lifelong partnership or a marriage with another person, most times culturally and globally, it's the woman who ends up usually letting go of some of her dreams. She leaves her marital place, she leaves her, if it is the same culture marriage, if she had married, say, an Indian, she would still have moved away from Chennai to the place where her husband is staying. Most of the times, that is what women do. Very rarely are men the ones who move their jobs or lives or break up their family relationships to go and coexist with their partner. Most times it's the woman who's doing it. So it doesn't matter if you're marrying in the same language, same culture, same religion, same country, same continent, or you're marrying outside of it. The gender struggle related to women letting go of many of their life dreams, many of their past lives, is a common thing most women will face in their marriage. Doesn't matter if you're marrying within the same caste, tribe, language, or outside of it. So that could be and that is the reason why women will always, in the initial stages of the relationship, want to know how close of a bond they can form with their future life partner. And if that close bond is not possible, if their partner is not able to allay some of their fears, if their partner is not able to bring some stability and security within the relationship, that is when most times either women will self sabotage and end the relationship, or their partners will self sabotage and end the relationship, or both of them would be doing it at the same time and end the relationship. And this is the self sabotage stage actually both of them had landed in, where she wanted to know what is her importance in his life. And what was he self sabotaging about? He was self sabotaging about the differences they have, and for him it was the interracial differences, but he kept saying in the video interrelational differences, and he thought he was making a slip of tongue error. But actually speaking, God was making him say what was actually going on. It was a interrelational problem, a interrelationship problem that every couple faces and has to face when the point of difficulty and conflict and separation consciousness starts forming in that relationship. As a result, he was worried about what are his future goals going to be. Would he be able to be a good partner to someone who is from a different culture and cultural background? He didn't mention everything, but these were very common goals I think most guys face when they are dating someone. Because I dated people, I have always dated Indians, and when I dated Indians, even though we were both from the same country, sometimes they were from the same state where I lived, sometimes they had grown a little for a few years in the same state from where my family was from, but all of them had different language, different culture, and some of them also had different religion. So we had differences in many things. Despite that, the love was what brought us together. But even though the love brought us together, the attraction connected us, the love was not deep enough, the trust was not deep enough. So even though those guys also were having the same trouble about understanding whether this woman can fit into my culture, this woman can fit into my religion, this woman can fit into my family, this whether this woman is eligible long term to be a good life partner for my future life goals, they didn't voice it out. It took me many years of self reflection and also this particular video to finally click, okay, this is what these guys wanted to express but never really expressed verbally, but via the subtle signs, subtle choices, they were expressing it. What were the subtle choices and subtle signs they showed? The one who was from a different religious background and culture, he openly just verbalized that I don't think you can fit into my family. But because the attraction was high, he didn't want to break up the relationship because he was a very introverted personality and didn't have that many friends. I was one of his only good friends at that time, so he didn't want to break up that relationship for many personal reasons. But because again our direction wasn't going the same way, like how in this girl, when she was feeling insecure and thinking that this relationship is just going to break up, what did the guy do? He not only expressed what was worrying him, and he not only got some assurance from her that they can work it out together, because but if he hadn't expressed it to the girl, could she have ever told him that we can work it out together? Could she have ever shown to him that they can work it out together if he never expresses openly what are his worries? So this is where relationships can fail. If a guy is having a meltdown, if he doesn't say what are his worries, and the woman doesn't show how to alleviate his worries, then the relation, or both of them are doing this where the woman can't stem his worries and the man can't stop worrying, then all of these are the factors that cause at this juncture point of any relationship for a relationship to break down. Now, what is it both of them did right? That despite the common fears that many men and women can have when dating each other, is what made their relationship continue onwards. The girl, when she was feeling insecure, she didn't talk to her friends, which I have done. I have talked to my friends and I have got their opinion, and most times, most my friends' opinions would be that why don't you break up if you're feeling this insecure about the relationship, or if he isn't bringing the security back. Now, that is what happened with my first relationship. So, where I was highly insecure for many reasons, and because of this reason, even though my friends would tell me why don't you break up, I didn't break up because at that time I felt really strongly that this relationship should continue, because how I felt about him was deeper than anything I had felt for anyone else in my life. So that beautiful feeling of depth that someone can bring in your relationship, it's not easy to let that go. And that's why I continued on, even though he did none of the things that this guy was doing to allay my fears, bring down my insecurity, or pull me back into the relationship like he did. Because what did she do? She did two things. She prayed to God about the future of her relationship, and she didn't try to get opinions of others to cloud her judgment. Now, these are excellent tactics people should use in a relationship when they are getting into their fear zone. They should connect with the God to see the higher purpose of their relationship, and to see if the divine should intervene in the relationship if something was going wrong. And also, because praying to the God or the divine helps us in calming down some of our fears as well. While what he did also was the right thing, that the moment he was expressing his troubles and future goals and things that he saw as the problem zone possibly in the relationship, even though she didn't listen to everything he was saying because she was also in her worry zone, because she was the right girl, the divine intervened to make her say the words that were necessary to bring down his fears. And also, What else did the divine do? The divine ensured that this boy is using his heart while making the decision about the future of the relationship, which is where most guys who break up with their girlfriends, most guys who have the same fears as this guy, fail to do. They do not use their heart, they do not think about the consequences of the breakup on the girl, and they are only thinking about their future, their worries, their life, and that's why they end up ruining something that could have been potentially good. Now, there's nothing wrong if a boy ended up breaking a relationship at this juncture, if he didn't feel comfortable enough to express his future worries, if he didn't have the trust in that girl, if he didn't consider that girl worthy enough to be brought into his family circle, social circle, into his life, or even after bringing her into his social circle, he realized that this is not the right girl for me. There's nothing wrong in that, because every human being has a template of what will resonate for their soul with another human being, and everyone has a different level of resonance with future potential life partners. Now, anytime a relationship is meant to self destruct or self sabotage, the men or women in the relationship will end up self sabotaging it. But anytime people bring their heart centered decision making along with their thinking and thought processes, and people bring in God into the relationship, I feel that makes a relationship potentially more worthy and more stronger and more capable of withstanding any conflict and separation consciousness areas, because there's nothing that was uncommon in this relationship and the fears that these two had. Most women will fear that if I can't have a one on one good relationship with my future partner, should that relationship continue? Or when I'm feeling worried and insecure, if my partner doesn't know how to allay my fears also, will that relationship continue? So if this guy, after expressing his trouble, after using his heart centered decision making, what did he do? While in the 6 months when they were dating, she felt she is the one who is mostly connecting with him, trying to connect with him, asking him, are we going on this date together, and things like that. It flipped after this conversation, because once his fears were allayed that they can work some of their trouble zones together, he was ready. And also, once his heart center was activated and he knew that he should use his heart also in the decision making, his worries went away and he was ready to step in and be the man in the relationship and be the one reeling her in by connecting with her more, by possibly doing other things that they didn't mention here. But considering that they are now married and have a child, he must have stepped in, he must have proposed to her, he must have introduced to her to all his family, they must have introduced each other to their family, and all those things step by step they would have done, that is necessary to build a relationship and life together with each other. And if either of them hadn't done the necessary steps necessary to keep building the relationship, they wouldn't be together. Now, every relationship will have these breakup phases where one partner might be pulling away or both might be pulling away. But say in one time, because in this example they showed that she was the one who felt that she was pursuing the relationship a little bit more often in the beginning, when the relationship has to balance out, because every relationship is like a winding river. I've posted it in my previous video also, that when one person is bending, the other has to also bend this way. When one person is bending this way, the other person has to bend this way. So if one person is having insecurities, both can't be in the insecurity zone. One has to be allaying the insecurities. Or if both are in the insecurity zone, they have to allay each other's insecurities down and reel each other in using the right mechanisms necessary to build the relationship. If they reel each other in using some manipulative tactics, or if they are only verbally saying that we are going to work it out, but factually they are not able to work it out, or if they are verbally thinking that, oh, I'm using my heart in this, but the decisions they take are not based on keeping your partner in mind, then the relationship wouldn't function well, or if it is functioning also, it would be a poor quality relationship. So, based on this couple's video, what I wanted people to conclude from this relationship, and also from the times when they are having relationship trouble in the beginning stages of a partnership with someone, and beginning stages of a dating life with someone, or considering whether you should be marrying someone, both couples need to express some of their fears. And if even if a woman didn't express her fears, this guy had instinctively managed to take over where her fears would have controlled the relationship otherwise. And because he was able to intuitively and instinctively do that, this relationship got back on track. And this is what is usually needed, because many women will suffer for a long time injustices in the relationship, won't speak up about it, or even if they do end up speaking up about it, if they have a man who's not ready to compromise or reel her in or reel her insecurities, the relationship won't work. Or if the woman keeps on feeling insecure because the man is not drawing her in into his circle, or drawing her in into his worries that they need to work together, um, again, the relationship will start fracturing from the woman's end. And likewise, the opposite can also happen. Sometimes it's the woman who's worried too much about the future, and who's worried about their future goals and career goals and other things, or racial problems or cultural problems. Now, if the man doesn't know how to balance that out, then also there will be a problem. So, essentially, if there's a problem from the woman's end, the man has to know, or either instinctively understand, or use their heart based decision making, or use their love for each other to know how to de escalate the problem zones, and vice versa. When the man is having his fears, the woman has to know how to de escalate some of the situations. And if couples speak about their worries to each other, is it just speaking about the worries that causes the problem solving? No. The first step is speaking about their worries. The next step is knowing how to allay the fears temporarily. But the third and key step is knowing how to work with each other to build a life together. And which is where, if you have succeeded in the first step, you will continue for a few more years into the dating each other, or you may have a few good years of a good marital relationship when you know how to understand each other, speak, communicate with each other. But even after understanding each other and communicating with each other, if you still don't know how to build a joint life together with each other that takes care of each other's worries, takes care of each other's goals of life, or some good future vision of what they want to see in the marital life unfold, and as well as professional life, what they want to see unfold in their professional life, if that future together is not jointly built together, very few relationships end up being good quality, and many relationships eventually either end up falling apart, or people end up divorcing from each other when they didn't build a joint life, joint dream, joint vision together with each other for a long term happy life. Because, like how people invest when they have a job goal, and this is where men usually are failing in relationships, they invest so much time, so much effort, so much dreams and envisioning in envisioning what kind of job they should have, what kind of salary they should have, what kind of car they should buy, what kind of home they should buy, what kind of generosity they will show to their spouses or friends or partners or colleagues. All these visioning they will do, but none of them, or majority of them, don't envision what kind of life they have to build with their wife for the future of their life as well as the future of humanity. Because a man who is envisioning his life based on 1,000-year-old paradigm, 100-year-old paradigm, or 50-year-old paradigm of what they saw their parents and grandparents do, um, is not living in the present or future of humanity, because the present reality and future reality of humanity has lot more different troubles, lot more different things that people have to build together and fight together and live together and construct together with their life partner. And if their role model is only 100% the past of what they saw with their culture, with their family, with their parents, or with their friends, and none of it is built on what is needed for future of humanity or future direction of their individual relationship parameters, then also some relationships can fail. Because most times, not necessarily true, but most times the one who has a feminine energy in the relationship, the woman or the man who might have the feminine energy and the woman may have the more masculine energy too in some relationships, but most time feminine energy involves working through darkness, working through destroying things that need to be destroyed. So that's why whichever person in the relationship has the more of the feminine energy in them and is channeling the insights from the universe of what is needed to be maintained, as well as what is needed to be destroyed in a relationship to make it compatible for the future of their life and future of humanity, that is the path that will usually emerge for those people, especially who are the pioneers and builders of some good quality relationship building of the present and future. So this couple, I feel, are one of those pioneers. They are the interracial couple pioneer, but other than the interracial aspect of the relationship, they are also the pioneers of what they can be the pioneers of what good relationship building and structuring should be about. So please follow them. I really loved what they have said and shown so far in their relationship. I don't think they are people who don't have troubles and don't have problems in their relationships. But the more open and honest they become about their problems and challenges, and the more open and honestly they solve it jointly, their lives will keep flourishing. And likewise with any other couple, if after 4 5 years of knowing each other, 10 years of knowing each other, 20 years of knowing each other, some roadblocks and challenges are happening in your life, that is the making and breaking point of that relationship, to know can you jointly help each other go in a direction in which one partner needs to go. Because maybe for 10 years the women only sacrifice everything in the relationship and it's time for the man to sacrifice some things, or maybe for 10 20 years the woman didn't sacrifice much, the man was sacrificing a lot. Are the women ready to sacrifice for the man? So if in these making and breaking points of those junctures the partners are able to bend in the right ways, the relationship will continue forward. The partners are able to build in the right ways, the relationship will continue forward. And the partners are able to bring God into the relationship, bring universal needs into the relationship. The more they bring the things necessary to make a relationship quality relationship in the timeline at which, in the um, era at which we are living, the better we are going to be able to have a good quality life. I hope it was helpful and I hope it made sense what I was trying to say in the latter half of the video, because this is something very few people, very few couples think about after they have had good quality 10 20 year relationship also. And also some couples who need to think about all these direction too before deciding on marrying someone. Because if you are supposed to be a pioneer of something, if you are supposed to be the way shower of a particular way of living that no one else has done before, you have to be very careful about who you choose as your life partner, who should be chosen and allowed and given the space to be with you, to walk with you to take the journey with you in the direction in which you have been either guided by the universe, or you instinctively know in your heart, or is what is needed for you or humanity or your family, or whatever else is the motivational factor and life purpose related to your journey as a spouse with someone. I hope it made sense, and please drop a comment if anything I said in this video needs more clarity, if anything in this video intrigues you, if you are going through some relationship problems and challenges that are puzzling you, and maybe I can throw in some insight on that. Thank you so much. Have a great day.